Hi, folks. Welcome to Follow the Leader Presents, a podcast focused on telling character-driven stories through the use of GM-less tabletop role-playing games where we can all take the lead. You can find us on Blue Sky at FTLcast and at FTLcast.com. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/FTLcast. Today, we're playing Canonized by Jeff Stormer. That's me. For those of you that are new to the game, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can set the stage. Take it, future me. Greetings, agents. Tonight and for the next several sessions, we will be playing Canonized, a storytelling game about building the hidden, interconnected histories of our favorite pop culture properties and using the truth of those histories to save the world. When we sit down together, we're going to explore a fictional world, pull out our favorite pieces, our characters, themes, locations, plot points, etc., and connect them with other worlds to create a fictional universe larger than the sum of its parts. Then we're going to use the strange stories and create to undermine the massive corporation that has kept these worlds under lock and key for 1,000 lifetimes. This game's a little different than the ones than some other ones that have been played. We have a resident expert here that's really mainly here to answer questions we have or make things up. Secondly, Canonize is written to use the real-world pieces of pop culture that we care about, the movies, games, books, and stories that we are deeply passionate about that we want our friends to experience. And finally, this is a game that doesn't explicitly end when we wrap up at the end of the night. In between sessions, we explore new worlds on our own, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to finally read that book, watch that movie, or play that game our friend has been asking us to play for ages. So there you have it, agents. If you've made it this far, you are a Canoni now. There's an evil corporation keeping the world boring. Let's get out there and blow it up with knowledge. Take it away, past me. I'm Jeff. You can find me on social at jeffstormer.gobirds.online or really anywhere else at Jeff Stormer. My pronouns are he and his. Today, with me, we have Mac.
Hi, that's me. I'm Mac. You can find me on Blue Sky and Tumblr at Citadel of Swords. You can find me hopefully not turning so far away from my microphone that you can't fucking hear me on this podcast and some other podcasts on both the Standing Stone Podcasting Guild and the Moonshot Podcasting Network.
We have Jade.
Hello, I'm Jade. I'm also occasionally known to go by Coda. You can find me most places on the internet at Jade Oxford Rose, and I use they, them pronouns.
And we have August.
Hi, I'm August. You can find me on Tumblr at Strange Harpy, on Blue Sky at harpydora.bsky.social, and my pronouns are they, them.
And we have Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I use she, they pronouns, and you can find me on the internet at RedTailTalk90.
Lines, things that we absolutely do not want to see are homophobia and transphobia, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, violence against children and animals, sexual assault, domestic violence or intimate partner violence, unwanted pregnancy, and plagues and pandemics. Veils, things that we're fine with addressing but we want to fade to black on, steamy situations, graphic descriptions of bodily harm and terminal illness. And for today's content that we are covering, depending on the specific media that you are watching or reading, there may be references to Nazi or extremist-related imagery, but that's about it. And with all of that, I think that we're ready to get started and explore the world of Superman.
Woo!
Somebody do a slightly different, legally distinct version of the Superman theme.
I can't afford another theme.
No, I just meant with their mouth. This moment.
I was going to say, the great thing is that you could actually just, at this moment, grab any of the full-on intros to the Superman radio show, all of which are public domain.
Oh.
You could just fully hit the, up in the sky, look, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Yes, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings in a single bound, race a speeding bullet to a target, bend bare steel in his hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
Who needs the radio show?
Fucking
That's
incredible.
Perfect.
So Superman. I was thinking actually so I'm going to read off a very long list of items that I have provided to the group. And I think that the best thing to do is just kind of like discuss as a group, because this episode is a little bit structurally different than the other ones that we have, the other ones that we have engaged with. Talk a little bit about like what we have investigated, what each of us has dug into as the meta material. Because I gave the group not one thing, but a cross-media Superman introductory reading list across every genre that I could possibly think of, which includes Action Comics number 1 from 1938, Action Comics number 1 through 6 from 2011, All-Star Superman issues 1 through 12, Superman Birthright, Superman for All Seasons, Superman Smashes the Klan, the 2025 James Gunn Superman movie, the 1978 Richard Donner Superman movie, Superman 2, the Richard Donner Cut, the first 4 episodes of Superman and Lois, the TV series, the first 3 episodes of Superman, the animated series, Superman vs. the Elite, the animated movie, Hitman issue 34 of the I Sing, which I think is the weirdest pick that I included on this list, but it was really important to me. For the Man Who Has Everything, and Justice League season 1 episode 2, also for the Man Who Has Everything. Obviously for me, I've read all of these things, and so this is my wheelhouse.
As expected from our expert for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So what did y'all sit down and play? What pieces of the Superman world have we all played around in over the last couple of weeks?
I'll go first, as I was chatting about it just before we began. Because I briefly considered not watching or reading anything that of Jeff's lovingly curated list, because Superman is so pervasive as a cultural icon.
Sure.
And I genuinely considered literally just going off whatever I had remembered of small things I'd picked up just over the years of being friends with people, and like little snippets of media here and there. And I felt like I could have maybe carried on a decent conversation. I thought it might have been an interesting perspective to have. But then I also couldn't resist dipping my toe in a little bit. So I went with Action Comics number 1, the OG, to see where it all began. I watched the 2025 James Gunn Superman movie as one of the more recent. I think the absolute Superman run has happened since, but that wasn't on our list, and I didn't have the wherewithal to get hold of it. And I also watched the Justice League Unlimited take on The Man Who Has Everything.
Honestly, 3 incredibly good pieces. And also the idea of just going like, my thing was that I live in the world in 2025, and also Jeff Stormer's weird sicko behavior is a good friend of mine, and so therefore I feel confident that I can speak on this topic.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, Jeff. I will go next year, I believe. I read Action Comics number 1. I read All-Star Superman numbers 1 through 12. It was very useful to have to live with a friend who has a lot of comic books, because I was able to read the actual paperback of it. I read Superman Smashes the Klan, and I read Hitman issue number 34 of the I Sing, which I agree with Jeff. It is a vital... I really think that Hitman issue 34 kind of clicked a lot of things into place about that, coupled with Superman Smashes the Klan for me, kind of clicked some interesting things into place as to why this list was curated the way it was.
I will explain my reasoning at the end once everybody states what they've engaged with.
Yes. But I also this is not on our list, but I will say that somewhat unintentionally, but also kind of intentionally, I did engage with my good friend Jeff Stormer's portrayal of Clark Kent / Superman in the episode Batman Bump of the Night World's Finest, which I caught the first half an hour of live and then listened to the recording after the fact.
It's a good podcast. Add it to the list.
It's a good podcast. If Walk in the Sun was out, I'm sure that we would have been like, all right, we're gonna totally corrupt our knowledge of Superman by getting a very biased take and listening to the way that Jeff and Riley plays Superman in Walk in the Sun, but that podcast does not yet exist. It has been announced, though, so I can talk about it.
We're working on it. It should be out by the time this episode airs, I think. Maybe.
Really?
But it depends on when this episode airs, but possibly.
I would also
okay.
before everyone else chats, I would argue that any iteration of something like a comic book character, especially that goes through so many different hands, every iteration is biased in a way towards the people that create it. It's like a lens, and every version of
true.
it. So,
I mean, gestures to Hitman issue 34.
But I'm just saying, as biases to enjoy our friends who are two of the most passionate people I know about the things they love, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good intro to anything, is to have people, hey, what do you know? That's the premise of this thing we're doing right now.
Damn right. August, what do you got?
So, I'll fully admit my brain's been just kind of bad recently, so I didn't do a whole lot of the reading. I did read Action Comics #1 because I wanted to get the very beginning, and then I watched the James Gunn Superman because, you know, very, very recent. I watched a little bit of Superman and Lois, and I also, since Superman is a Moses allegory, I do want to bring in the fact that I have been attending Torah study fairly regularly for the past several years.
That feels right. No, that feels correct. I mean, I think that counts as Superman research. I think understanding the story of Moses gives you pretty precise insight into the story of Superman. They're the same thing.
Yeah. So that is what I have ingested in the run-up to this recording.
And Danielle, what do you got?
I read Action Comics #1 and watched the James Gunn Superman movie. In the past, I've also, it's not on the reading list because it's probably less great. My parents were obsessed with Smallville, so I got a lot of Smallville.
I love that. This makes me very happy. The only reason it wasn't on the list was because I didn't have like a concise, like, this is a chunk of episodes that you can be like, this is 4 hours that I will sit down and engage with, is the only reason I didn't put Smallville stuff on the list.
But that's what I'm bringing to the table.
Great. So I will explain a little bit, in part because I got a message from Mac, some weeks ago that was just like, I have put your list in front of my roommate and they have questions about like why you have curated this list in this way.
He was very curious about it. I will not say that he's critical of it. He's very curious.
Curious, not judgmental, you know.
So
yes.
here is what I was going for with this list. And Coda, you kind of nailed it on the head, which was there are ideas and concepts to the character of Superman that I kind of wanted to, within a reading list, both present in as digestible a format as possible, that like you could read any of these things and go, okay, cool, I get the idea of Superman. I get the core beats, the things that like I must have. And then also kind of candidly like stress tested a little bit. It was a this is how far individual people, like individual writers, artists, filmmakers, etc., can take the idea of Superman and like the you know, what happens, like what are the core central ideas of that character that emerge when you look at works that are often extremely disparate in design, you know, like a semi-autobiographical / inspired by real world historical events stories of Superman, of both like growing up as a Chinese immigrant / the real life story of how Superman was a pivotal role in like dramatically damaging the reputation of the Ku Klux Klan, paired with a one-off series about a slimy hitman in Gotham City hanging out with Superman for an evening / kind of an angry rebuttal at Garth Ennis' entire oeuvre slash James Gunn using Superman to springboard into an entire, like, the idea that all of these have such vastly different approaches and sort of what are the things that emerge about this character, which I think is a good segue into what things do we want to put on the board as we start to like play the game, as we start to get into the board filling part of the game. But like that was the idea, right? Was how vastly different can you take this character in multiple different directions? What are the commonalities that emerge between them?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because the big through line that I saw between Superman Smashes the Klan and Hitman number 34 is, and this might end up being something that I put onto the board, is the idea of a person who is not human desperately wanting to belong among the people that he loves. Right? Like, that was an immediate association that I saw between, and you get that a little bit, I saw that a little bit in All-Star Superman, but it was very stark between Hitman 34 and Superman Smashes the Klan, is this guy who has come from far away and who loves the people that he lives among and is trying to figure out how to belong among them. And I was just like, oh my fucking god, okay.
I think that's, I mean, I think that's absolute. I mean, if you don't put that on the board, I will, because I think that's also hold on, I'm going to find the transcript of it, because, where is it?
There's a moment in James Gunn's Superman that is like, feels like it's expressly about that as well, like that sentiment.
I think that you're referring to the thing that I'm trying to find.
I was vamping on your behalf, Jefferson.
I appreciate
okay.
this. I appreciate this. Let's see. Do I have the?
I mean, you don't already have this saved to your computer?
Here it is. I mean, there's the monologue. That's why you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I get scared. I get up every morning. I don't know what to do. I put one foot in front of the other. I make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time, and that's being human, and I hope for the sake of the world that you understand that that's yours, or that's my greatest strength, and I hope for the sake of the world you understand that's yours too. It is the idea that, like, he is not human, but, like, it's that inherent of, like, to be human is something that is, and maybe this has become a separate item on the board, but, like...
I think so, yes.
I think I'm going to put a second tag on the board of that I think will connect to a lot of things very quickly, which is like, to be human is an action, is a verb, not a noun.
I was thinking the exact thing. Just it's one of those big things, like, good is not a thing you are, good is a thing you do, and kindness is a choice, not a character trait.
Yeah.
And
and that's why I put sorry, keep going.
No, and that's like that again, choosing to be human. What it means to be human is making those choices every day. Fuck everyone that says that empathy is a bad thing.
Correct.
I see a connection has already been made off of to be human is a verb, not a noun. Somebody explain.
And a connection has already been made off of someone who is not human but desperately wants to belong with them. Which I want to clarify that I have put human in quotes on that one, because I mean, like, from a quote-unquote biological...
Quite literally is a Kryptonian from the planet Krypton.
Quite literally the alien of it all. But as we... And I am also going to draw a connection between these 2 points that we have just made, because... hello?
Connecting that up to our next episode.
Yeah. Listen, the only reason why I'm not drawing connections to our next episode now is because I want to leave the opportunity for other people to do that.
Understood.
I've drawn a connection between Beetlejuice and someone who is not human but desperately wants to belong with them. And I've drawn a connection between the Rippers and to be human is a verb, not a noun.
Good shit.
I think we, like, very notably cannot draw a connection between Jareth and someone who is not human but desperately wants to belong
Right.
with them because,
Yeah.
no,
No.
he does not.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna call that out.
There's something I would like, and I don't know if I want this to be on the board, but it is something that I felt very cognizant of. And I was chatting to both of my partners actually about it. And this is speaking as somebody, as the lone person in this group of investigators who is not American. The accent is legit. I'm not just putting this on to sound cool and interesting.
Gasp! I didn't know this
Gasp.
about you, Coda.
You have absolutely not spent time with me in this country.
No!
Superman, to me, more than I think any other character, certainly in the DC universe, feels so quintessentially American in that it is the kind of American that is the ideal. Like, this is the I suppose, for the sake of it, like the Uber, like this is what Americans can be. And again, I suppose that is, we could link that to choosing to be human. But there's so many characters that I could think of that I could see maybe in any country. Like, well, my example is just like, I mean, gun crime, yes, but Batman as a notion, I could see a Batman happening in France, in the UK, in 100 different countries. Diana Prince is fucking from, well, depending on the writer, is from ancient Greece. And then you've got all these wonderful alien characters and from different far-flung places. But even though Superman, Clark Kent, is the son of Krypton, he's so American. And it feels weird to describe American as a compliment. I'm very sorry to my friends who I love and adore, but gestures at the
No,
work.
that's
valid.
No, that
yeah.
feels we own that. We own that.
Yeah, but American complimentary in brackets, you know?
Mhm.
And it's a lovely thing to watch that and go, oh, yeah, no, I can see why somebody would watch or read Superman and feel proud to be American, in the way that it's like the whole immigrant thing, like people who have chosen to come to a place and made it their home. That's the vibe I get with Superman.
Mhm.
It's the immigrant narrative.
It is.
It's the immigrant narrative, and Mac, as you read the issue, like, I think there's a really interesting Coda. I think you should read the Hitman issue, because I think you would get a tremendous amount out of it with that exact perspective, because like a critical piece of context around it is that it was written by a man with a fascinating and baffling view of superheroes as a whole, which is Hitman is a series by Garth Ennis, who is like
Of the boys.
one of the Garth Ennis, creator of The Boys, like one of the like the British invasion of comics of the 80s, like a very like one of the more famous like British comic book writers, who has this like very specific view of superheroes that I find fascinating in its contradiction, in that, like, you watch The Boys, you examine The Boys, like The Boys I think speaks to a tremendous, it's very present in Hitman, it's present in almost all of his work, that like the superhero as a concept is an inherently like fascist project that is like might makes right, and like is deeply critical. And yet this writer also, Garth Ennis, also has the most genuine love and adoration of like the character and concept of Superman and what Superman specifically represents. And it's very like, you've described kind of a direct thing that he kind of, Garth Ennis has his sort of like mouthpiece character of Tommy Monaghan say, which is like, you're what America should be. He's like you're the thing that America, like you're the good ideal of America. And like he's like, you're the picture of what you're the realization of the stories that we tell ourselves. And like there's something, and like it's fascinating to hear that come from like a British writer who is deeply critical of superheroes but looks at Superman and goes, he's the exception. This guy's great. I have a pure-hearted love in my heart of this guy.
That was one thing that got me when I had that realization, and this is the last thing I'll say for a little bit. With that feeling, like, yeah, he's the good, the American, like the guy. The number of things on this specific list, but also that I know are very well regarded. Alan Moore came up with For the Man Who Has Everything with Dave Gibbons, British. And then Grant Morrison was behind All-Star Superman. And I'm like, there's something very interesting to me. And again, maybe it is that slight outsider perspective of, because there's something in American culture about pride and ego, for a better word. A lot of Americans are like, yeah, this is great, this is good. It's interesting to see these outside voices looking at Superman and going, yeah, he's the shit. And here's why. From that outside perspective, it doesn't become this self-aggrandizing, look at how good we are. It's like seeing this figure, this hero, from that outside perspective going, now that is a goal. That is an ideal. That is something we could strive to be. And that's how you know Superman's good. Because you know how hard it is for anyone from the United Kingdom to look at anything American and go, that's really fucking good, actually. You're our ungrateful bastard children is what you are. Ungrateful, you left, you never right now. But there is something quite compelling to me about these voices that aren't American who can speak to this inherently American character that is very cool and interesting to me.
And I think it's actually there's something interesting, and I don't know quite if what the card is almost, but like hearing you say that, like there's a really fascinating kind of dichotomy of Superman like as he exists in stories, and I think it's visible on this list that I think like you've just kind of pointed towards, which is the stories on this list that are written by British or by non-American authors ground Superman in the idea that he, like, the through line of all of them are Superman as an invulnerable, like as a Superman as a presence, and then you look at something like James Gunn's Superman and it's, yeah, but he's a guy that is deeply unsure, and like, or like a lot of the other, Superman Smashes the Klan is another good example of like anchoring Superman as, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm trying to figure it out and I'm winging it. Whereas then you look at, you know, your all-star Superman for the man who has everything, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And it's, Superman is a god who is like, there's something fascinating there that like feels worth examining, but I don't know if it's an item for the board of just like, it's interesting how much of that uncertainty or that doubt or that reflexiveness or that belief that, hey, I'm getting shit wrong emerges when it is emerges among like American writers looking at the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's something really interesting there, and I don't know if I know how to put it on the board, but there's something interesting there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility that I might get to it in the thing that I want to say, but I want to make sure that August and Danielle go before I go on a 5.5-minute monologue.
So I haven't put anything new on the board, but I have drawn a few connections to what's already here. The obvious, like, not even metatextual one just is, you know, I drew a connection to there are worlds beyond this because there's literally Krypton. Well, okay, Krypton doesn't exist anymore, but, you know, literally other planets, other places that life could come from. But the two big ones, and these were like top in my notes, especially after watching Superman and Lois, was your family is defined by you and just family in general, just being so deeply important to the narrative and who Superman is as a character. Because, you know, like in the James Gunn Superman, you know, he's got the message from his biological parents that turns out to be, you know, kind of not great at the end. And it then when his family gets brought up again, it gets turned into instead like a collage of things that have to do with the Kents, because that's the family that he chooses, and that's the family that's chosen him, and the Kents themselves are so deeply important to Superman as a person and shaping his values. And I linked this in Discord, and I don't know if you got the chance to watch Megamind yet, Jeff.
I have not. I've been meaning to. It's been on my list. It is a real gap in my watch history, is like a thing that like has been so consistently recommended to me, and like it's one of those things that like I know that when I watch it, it will rewrite my brain in real time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a really good Tumblr post about Megamind being a movie that understands Superman, and it talked a lot about like how Megamind is raised by people that the world doesn't love but who love him anyway. And that really sticks with me, how different Superman could have been if he'd been raised by people who didn't love him and didn't love the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure there's a comic run about that. I want to say there's a comic run where Superman is raised in like Soviet Russia.
I was about to say, between both what you have said and what Coda has said, I'm regretting not putting Superman Red Sun, also partially by Grant Morrison, but by Mark Millar and Grant Morrison. The premise being Superman landed in Soviet Russia instead of in America, and like how that alters the trajectory of his life. But like you've both landed on very fascinating things that I'm like, maybe that'll be my go. Please go read this after session game.
But yeah, just family is such an important thing because of the way that it shapes like how Superman chooses to love the world.
Mm-hmm.
And who Superman chooses to love.
I put 2 cards on the board. One on Superman and one on the corporation.
Mm-hmm.
I put down.
Yeah, of course you put him on the fucking corporation. Now, right?
Listen, listener.
You had to.
Listener. We'll get to who I put on the corporation, but you know who I'm going to say in 2 minutes. I put down the ancient texts. And like that I think is a big way to describe it, but going back to the Moses allegory, I think it's the right way to describe it. Of like, because in several of the stories, Superman smashes the Klan. This comes up in a big way. It comes up in a big way in James Gunn's Superman. It comes up in Superman 78. Like the idea that his connection to this world is not through any sort of direct knowledge, but is just through the work, the texts that he has been handed from a world that is not his, and like the role that those play, and the way that like they cast this sort of shadow over that world, I think is really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And also, before I forget, even though you don't need me to say this out loud, I did attach to the corporation one Alexander Joseph Lex Luthor Jr. Because of course his ass is here. Of course his ass is here.
His ass has to be here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, are y'all ready for me to drop a bomb on the board?
Please. Drop a bomb on the
I
board.
can't.
Yes.
I can't.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
I can't believe this isn't already on the board, but I've made it humongous on purpose.
Jesus Christ, I just saw the size of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. Let's just connect that
yeah,
Pacific.
It's got to be huge.
Well.
Let's just connect it to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is it, Danielle?
It's hope.
Mm.
And it's choosing to put your faith in it even when it is the scariest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome, Mac.
Yeah, thanks. Genuinely a plot point that I had forgotten about.
I'm gonna connect Tank Girl to this as well.
Have you got more to say about Hope, or can I
Go ahead.
monologue while you're?
You can monologue while I.
Now
Yeah.
I am gonna change this. I am gonna kind of shift a little bit. So if you have more to say about Hope, we should focus on Hope.
I have drawn a connection, and this is a hear me out connection, but also I think one that is also immediately important. I drew a connection between Hope and Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rightly.
Because right.
I agree.
Because all of us watching and hoping that we find it one day, one
Mhm.
day we will find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and you.
Mm-hmm.
There is something to being this idea that we have established within our investigation of Muppets as a sort of like someone who has detached from reality. Like, part of that is, I think, inevitably driven by a desire for the world to be something that it is not.
Well, because you also have the corporation. You also have the corporation wanting to using ray guns that turn felt to flesh, right? Like, and turning what is unique and fun and cool into something
Enforcing
super
a
boring.
conformity, yeah.
Yeah.
All I can think of is that post that said, when Kermit sang about the lovers, the dreamers, and
Yes.
the, and
I was thinking the same
when
thing.
Gerard Way said about the broken, the beaten, and the damned, it's the same people. It's just like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
right.
It's
No,
the
that's right.
same
That's correct.
people.
Yep.
it's the same people.
Should we just put the Black Parade on here? Should we just do that?
Go for it. Put it over there next to queer as in fuck you.
Yeah.
Add a session.
Yeah.
The next session we'll just all add a session. We can listen to the entire discography.
So I have added to the board Crypto, the dog, the super dog. I have connected Crypto to Muppets because, particularly in the James Gunn 2025, that dog is a Muppet of every stripe. But one, I just think we should have a superpowered dog with impulse control in our universe. Just sick him on the corporation. He's got priors. He's ready to kill or at least maim the corporation. He knows what's what. But specifically as a line of dialogue in the 2025 Superman, where Superman's like, yeah, I'm gonna turn myself in, because that way I'll be able to find out where they took the dog. They took my dog, and it's like, it's a dog. And he's just like, yeah, not a very good one, but he's out there alone and he's probably scared. And that fucking got me. And I'm like, how much? I mean, because obviously Clark knows what it's like to be alone and to be scared. And yeah, maybe it is a little bit of projection, but that, and this is something you see throughout that run, or that movie, is Superman's value of life. If it could be a squirrel, it could be a kaiju. Does somebody want to connect to that? To the infant child of a person he has just met,
who has been
actively killing him.
Even if reluctantly, actively killing him.
Yeah. And again, it is that
we do have a kaiju card on the board.
We do have
Yeah,
a kaiju card. But it is that, again, regardless of if it is a choice, most of the time, more often than not, it doesn't look like it's a hard choice for him to choose valuing life. And that is a trait, because it isn't just like, I don't kill. Because that, we can argue semantics all day about, the deadliness of certain forms of attack, but we see him time and time again risk to himself saving lives. Especially, one could argue, innocent lives. But there is such compassion at the heart of this person. And I mean, there's a whole big speech about, I say speech, a little bit of dialogue from Pa Kent about, like, it's your choices who make you who you are, Clark. And we see time and time and time again the choice to do good, the choice to be kind. And that is so much in the best possible way. Like, Superman's never going to be my superhero, I don't think, but I can understand without a shadow of a doubt why he is so many people's.
Mm-hmm. I put down on the car. I was looking at the board. I've slapped down a card for Metropolis, and I've attached it both to home. But also, I think like a thing that comes up often in the margins, but I think it comes up in All-Star Superman in kind of fun ways, and in a lot of sort of sort of stories here and there. I drew a connection between Metropolis and urban disaster response, which is like a world in which like there's a sort of remarkable thing that I think happens a lot in stories where Superman is like well and established, which is the readiness and willingness of people to adapt to a world in which there is Superman. Like you see this a lot in stories where it is there's a kind of fascinating acknowledgement of I am willing to, you know, there's always, I think it's always funny that there's always the jokes about like, why would you choose to live in Gotham / why would you choose to live in Metropolis? And then like within those stories, there is always this sense of like people being like, why would I live anywhere else? Like this is Metropolis, and also Superman's here. And so like there are all of the insurance programs and all of the things that pop up and like ways that people adapt to living in a world where Superman is in it, and I think there's something kind of incredible about that.
Hell yeah.
I've made a few more connections to Hope, including to we will revisit time loops. Because what is a time loop? Except the hope that it will turn out different this time.
Yep. So true.
I've also put the Daily Planet on the board and connected it to Metropolis, to Luke Lester, and to the ensemble. The world is not a vacuum.
I connected Metropolis to the ensemble as well.
Mac, I believe you had a monologue you wanted to go on.
I did have a monologue I wanted to go on. So, it is impossible to escape comics in my house, okay? I live with somebody who is a big comics guy. And I had a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago, talking about how interesting it is to me that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, I want to say,
the big three,
they are so unbelievably well known in cultural consciousness. And the only Marvel equivalent that I can think of to the same caliber is Spider-Man. And also, and he pointed out the X-Men, and I was like, but the X-Men is a concept as opposed to any of the individual guys. I want to talk about archetype. I want to talk about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Spider-Man, sort of, as archetypical superheroes. And I know that we have archetypes down on the corporation, and I think that that stays there here. Because what we have seen from... Jeff, I love this note that you've put down on the board.
Yeah, I'll talk about... This is a monologue I'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. What we have seen from everything that we have read and watched is that Superman is not at all the cultural archetype that he is in cultural consciousness. I think that when you don't know anything about these superheroes, it's like, okay, we know Superman, he's an alien, he came from outer space, he's weak to kryptonite, but otherwise he's totally invulnerable. He is the radio intro, right? And then you read something with him, and for the most part, even Garth Ennis agrees that this is a guy who, he's a guy, and he wants to be a guy, and he's also an invulnerable superhero from an alien planet. But he fucks up, he loves people, he's not an archetype. he's just a fucking guy. But by nature of comics, he is both. He is Schrodinger's archetype. Do I put Schrodinger's archetype down on the
Yes,
fucking
yes,
board?
you
Put it down.
do.
Put it down.
Yeah.
Put it down.
And I want to also connect this to the ancient texts, because when you read, everyone should go read Action Comics #1 from 1938.
Yeah,
It's on archive.org.
I think it's I think it's a fascinating. I specifically asked all of our investigators today to read that because I thought it's really fucking interesting, and it's really interesting to read that within. It is really interesting to read that in the context of like modern Superman stories, and continue your point.
Because I think that, like, the key about it is that you see a lot of establishment of the common through lines of the Superman mythos in Action Comics #1. Action Comics #1 is a, I don't remember how many pages it is, but it is a single issue comic that introduces Superman. I think it introduces his backstory.
It does.
It introduces the Clark Kent disguise. It introduces Lois, and she is exactly as stubborn and headstrong as she is. Hold on a second, let me do math. Almost 90 years later, Clark Kent thinks that she is the fucking cat's pajamas, and she wants nothing to do with him. It's awesome. And it truly is the ancient texts in a way, because you go... A lot of the things that you see come up in other Superman media, you can trace back to Action Comics #1. So I am also going to put that down here, and maybe I will draw a connection between this and the actual archetypes thing, because I think there is something to be said for, and I'm not the expert here, so if it turns out that Jeff is going to go in a completely different direction, but there is something to be said here for a corporation that wants to take this guy who is the people's hero in a very real way and distill him back down to his basest quote-unquote components. And a guy who says, yeah, fuck that, actually.
This is tied into a monologue, and also I'm just putting I'm putting tiny things. I'm putting a lot of things on the board, but they're all really tied to a single extremely important card that I have placed on the board, which I will talk about as soon as I finish drawing this connection. I put a very important card on the door, a very like crucial card on the board, and that is, and I quote, "People always be giving Superman a free hot dog." Like, it is a genuinely so frequently portrayed thing, is that people be giving Superman a free hot dog. Like, it happens in Superman 2025 where he gets free falafel from the falafel cart guy. It happens, you get it all the time. You see Superman like eating a hot dog and the guy knows. And like Mac, when you mentioned Spider-Man, like that's a very common thread between the two of them, is like and my nuclear take is, despite the fact that they are the very opposite in terms of like powers and like worldviews, and that one of them is a god and the other is the most regular guy that has ever regular guy, Spider-Man is the most direct descendant to Superman in all of comics. Like, the idea, like,
I would agree with that.
there is no single character that more specifically carries forward the ideas of Superman, despite the fact that they are coming at it from opposite perspectives, as Spider-Man, in large part because they are both characters for whom, and a thing that I think is really interesting, and a thing that as I'm saying this, I also want to put on the board, or that I want to like draw a more direct, that I want to like call out, maybe not put on the board yet and save it for the next phase, and then you kind of called out, which is a thing that is really interesting about Superman, and it is true of Spider-Man as well. The authority on every level kind of fucking hates this guy.
Yep.
You know, like, it is a consistent thread that people in, you know, I wrote a very long Twitter thread about this one back when Twitter existed. But it's interesting when you look at Superman and Batman, and specifically how they both relate to the police, as like as how they both relate to law enforcement. In that, you know, Batman has a special light on the roof and gets coffee with the commissioner of police every New Year's Day, and you know, Superman, they have a division of the police dedicated to, we're gonna kill we are one day going to kill this one guy in particular. And that is a very constant thing, is that the police department in Metropolis consistently has we are going to have to pull the trigger on Superman department, and Batman gets coffee with the commissioner of police.
I wonder a little bit if that doesn't have to do somewhat with Superman's heritage as the creation of a Jewish person, because it's like, you know, historically, laws have not looked kindly upon Jewish people, and have not been used kindly towards them. So why would the police in Metropolis be any different to this Moses allegory?
I think that is a fantastic point. And it also kind of extends to, and I think the thing that makes Superman and Spider-Man so interesting is that the authority is often the only person that hates Superman. People always be giving Superman a free hot dog. Like,
hot dog.
It is you ask any, you know, you see it, there's a great sequence in Spider-Man 2002, director Sam Raimi, where they do the man on the street interviews about Spider-Man, and like, you know, for all of J. Jonah Jameson writing article after article, when they do the person on the street interviews, it's just person after person going, Spider-Man? Oh, he's my guy. Oh, he's best. I love Spider-Man. And there's the incredible, I'm going to see if I can find it. It is a 1-page comic. I bet I can find it. There it is. Yep, found it immediately. That came out of Marvel Comics 1000, that I think like is a Spider-Man comic, is a 1-page Spider-Man comic that I'm going to be so bold as to put on the board as it relates to Superman.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I think you should. I mean, I think
I've placed a full page of a Spider-Man comic on the board.
Yes!
Yeah!
And it is a complete 1-page Spider-Man story, and I will basically read the story here. Spider-Man saves a pregnant woman, and she's like, okay, what's your name, though? And he's like, my name is Spider-Man. No, what's your name? I'm having a kid, and I'm going to name it after you. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to sit for a second.
Oh.
And he says, Ben. Give it a second. We're going to get there. We're going to get through this monologue, I promise.
We're going to get through it.
And there are kids all over New York City named Ben. People be giving Superman a free hot dog. Like, it is the idea that, like, the authority hates this man, but every person that is in a position of need, he's the greatest guy in the world.
I mean, it's hard to do. I think that it's inverted for... I think about that scene from... I don't remember which one it is. A hot take, plot twist. I've never seen the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. But I do know the scene where Spider-Man stops the train.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
The best.
Yes. And
a huge
his
inspiration.
mask is off, and they all bring him inside. The whole train brings him inside, and they all swear they won't tell. It would be hard, I think, to do that scene with Superman, because he doesn't wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Clark Kent, quote, unquote, wears a mask. Superman does not. But if he did, you know that the people of Metropolis would do the same thing.
There's a long I'm drawing a card on the board that I have to include because moments where we get to play things in character is great.
Yes.
Oh, look, Lester's here.
As this discussion is going on, Luke Lester, podcast host of the Daily Planet, just has a moment of,
What?
wait, you're telling me Superman? What? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Oh, buddy, this is how you're finding out.
No. Oh, I should have seen that one. There's a long running that Luke Lester is having a whole moment learning this knowledge. Jeff points out like there's a long running joke about like everybody about like Clark Kent is like a terrible disguise. It's glasses and a haircut, which Jeff as actor and Jeff as amateur actor and guy who looks at pictures of people in costumes a lot would say that a different haircut and glasses does a lot.
It does.
But more broadly, I always think that my headcanon is always that there's a little bit of a degree of like among the people who are in a position to know, and I think this is a moment that does come up a lot, when Superman reveals his identity to someone. There is very frequently, especially in more modern stories, the really lean on this. When Superman reveals himself, there's almost always a sense of, yeah, obviously. I knew this the whole time. I just didn't want to blow up your spot. Like there's a sense of like, you know, My Adventures with Superman, which I would have put on the list, but I have not watched it. Please don't yell at me. I'm getting to it. Where he reveals his identity and everybody kind of goes, "Oh, I figured that out weeks ago. You're not good at hiding this." And I think there is something to that sense of like, there is that sense of I attached one of the things I attached people be given Superman a free hot dog to is we Invisibles have to stick together.
Yes.
We the people who have the eye of the corporation on us are all looking out for each other. And if that means I'm giving Superman a free hot dog because Superman is making sure that like I don't get killed by whatever lab experiment Lex Luthor has cooked up, you contribute as you are. We all contribute as we are able. I'm a guy that makes hot dogs. Superman is Superman.
Hey, we're gonna draw a connection between that and the ensemble. The world is not a vacuum. Yep. Also, I have officially put Spider-Man on the board. That's it.
That feels right. Feels right.
We've had a couple of other things we added to the board while Jeff and I have been talking. Let's talk about them.
Let's all talk about them.
Okay, the quick ones that I will with connected to the Daily Planet. I've got the card because I want part of our universe to be a thriving print media and journalism with integrity. I know Luke's doing good work, but just a place where that is valued and it's just fiction. But there's something truly heartening about that. Oh, thank God that somebody put that card on. But the big one that I wanted to sort of draw attention to is a child of two worlds and choosing both. And it's not that just that speaks to my queer non-binary ass, but this was something that really struck me watching the JLU Man Who Has Everything. In Clark's little dream state, he's running a farm. Like, it's a big ass cornfield, and his wife is a composite of Lana and Lois, and he is living the simple life. And it's like, oh, he is the Kansas farm boy, and he is the son of Krypton. It struck me in my core of that embracing of every part of him on a subconscious level. Like, Superman is Superman, and this wasn't in Action Comics. That was one of the fun things I enjoyed about that first one. If he had raised on Krypton, he'd be even more of a guy, but he wouldn't have any powers. That's because he lives on Earth. It is inextricable, the fact that he is a farm boy from Kansas and he is the last son of an alien world. He is both, and he's always going to be both. And he lives up to what he feels the ideals of both. And that, I mean, I'm not a biracial person, but speaking to having an identity being so informed by disparate elements of your heritage and wanting to embrace them and being both is just something inspiring, I think, and something worth definitely having on our board. And I suppose I could argue that can kind of connect to masking, this cool card that's now here. Because it's choosing both, but also that you don't always necessarily get to have them at all times.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still part of you. So it's good shit. It's good shit. That was all. I'm done for now.
I am leaning into the multimedia nature of our board, and I have added both a comic panel from a name that we somehow got an hour into the episode before putting onto the board, but I also needed to put it in a specific context, which is I love you, Lois Lane, until the end of time, like. And then also I've added that to the Superman section of the board, and I've also learned that you can just put a YouTube video on here wholesale. And I have drawn a connection specifically between the power of a musical and the Superman theme from the 1978 the John Williams orchestral Superman theme, in the way that those whichever Superman story, any live action Superman thing that you've watched since 1978 will include ba 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 ba. Like every single one of them will include a moment where that or those orchestral notes are played. And if we are pointing to a world in which, you know, to do an action in a certain way is to inject magic and music into the world, the idea that, like, there is a musical cue that everyone in the world hears in the back of their mind when Superman does some real fucking Superman shit, and that it is consistent and, like, leaning into the magic of it. Not to dismiss the work of John Williams. Maybe we can say in this world, John Williams, like, put it to paper and, like, you know, actually created a recording of it. But, like, a sound that everyone hears that is like a music cue when Superman does a miracle, like, embodies the, you know, the sort of cosmic, almost eldritch power of Superman as a concept. That, like, there are these, like, 6 notes that you hear in the back of your mind that are just like, there is a common thread to the power of Superman as an entropic figure, that, like, that, like, you have a feeling in your gut that you have witnessed a miracle enacted by a being that is larger than your comprehension. And you have a feeling in your heart, if you are one of the invisibles that has stuck together, you have a feeling in your heart that this is a moment to puff out your chest and say, that guy's one of ours. And if you are
Connect
in the
that
corporation,
to the power of a musical.
I think I already have connected that. That's exactly what I did, was connect that to the power of a musical, to say, to say,
Yeah.
that shit is magic. That shit is the magic that we have described in our previous investigations is manifested in, there is a set music cue that you will hear in your heart, and that connects you into the beating heart of the world around you.
As per the card I just wrote, a motif heard and felt throughout the universe.
Hell yeah.
Yes. 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 That connects to the ancient texts.
I went ahead and I dropped Mon Pa Kent on the board.
Yeah.
As you should.
Especially because it's very funny. In Action Comics #1, the Kents do not exist.
Nope.
So much of what people know of as Superman, is right there at the very beginning. But the Kents did not exist in Action Comics #1, but they came to be such a huge part of the character after that. So I think that they deserve a spot on the board.
Mm. To add to that, there's something specifically, and I think it's actually true of Lois and Clark, the fucking 90s series with Fuckface and Terry Hatcher. I'm not saying his name,
Yeah,
but
he doesn't deserve it.
no, but what I really loved about the casting in the James Gunn 2025, the actors that portray the Kents are the most normal fucking people I think I have ever seen in a Hollywood movie.
Oh, sure.
But I think it adds to that Superman's a guy. His parents are so fucking normal looking. You look at the two of them and you're like, oh yeah, no, they've been working the farm in Kansas for fucking 30, and they look it. They are, I suppose they are peak human looking, because they're not perfectly coiffed hair or whatever. These are very normal looking people. And we see that a lot. Like, their house is obviously very humble. Like, Ma Kent using her phone on speaker, just yelling into it while leaning over it. Like, there's just it's like distilled humanity right there. Actually, I will say, good casting throughout in James Gunn's.
Really,
Uh,
really good.
There was no casting in that. I was like, yeah, that's not really working for me. I enjoyed everybody in it. Shout out to, I'm not always going to give a shout out to Nathan Fillion, but he owned that
He
bowl
did.
cut. I know he insisted on
Yeah.
it, but like, just, yeah, I was having a great time. And that has just sprung my brain to a thing that I want to make sure, and this probably ties to another card. And I know Scott Nerdsink has done a video about this. The underwear outside the leggings. The choice to have that. And I think this is in Scott's video. Though I know David Cornsweet was pushing for it in the film. The fact that that element of the costume is a little bit silly makes him so approachable. He doesn't look scary.
Mhm.
Just like it's a guy in pajamas with a blanket on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is so approachable looking. Like, because he doesn't trade on fear, because he doesn't need armor, but he's just out here just like, oh yeah, I'm a guy, I'm here. I want people, like, what good am I as a hero if somebody is too intimidated to come up and talk to me? I've already failed if people can't come to me when they need help. And there's just something in the simplicity that of understanding that you need to do that is just
I've added a 2-panel page that is also recreated in tying it into adaptation. This has happened before. I'm gonna put both versions of it on here. A moment that is verbatim recreated in Superman and Lois. A kid sees him and says, "Hey, nice costume," and he goes, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." And it's,
Yeah.
he's a guy that's approachable to kids. His whole thing is that he is, and Corn Sweat said that in an interview. He's like, yeah, he wears his underpants on the outside because it makes it, because he wants a kid to be able to feel comfortable, like, asking him for help. He wants to look a little silly so that a kid can be comfortable talking to him. Like, it is adding that to the importance of a silly little guy.
Yes. He's a silly little guy.
See,
I think we had this conversation about him being a Muppet too, right?
Superman as a guy is a Muppet.
Yep.
We all have established this. This was established, I think, in the first episode that we sat down to record.
See, and this, and I suppose, while we, a brief moment to shit on some adaptions that just do not hit, or some commentary that does not hit. Part of why I was never interested in the Snyderverse Superman, his take on the character, is that Superman feels so unapproachable. And I know there's like fucking some Ayn Rand shit about being the whatever. I don't care for it. I don't like it. I see that and go, why would anybody see that as a hero? Like, that is utterly unapproachable. Um, and I do think, because I do want to hear Jeff yell about it, about how wrong Quentin Tarantino is about Superman.
The man has bad opinions in general.
I mean, this is true. This
yeah.
is true, but
it is
That's
in the
true.
news today at the time of this recording
Yeah,
that he's
shitting
just
on Paul
dropping some
Dano.
real
Yeah.
bad opinions, but like specifically,
yeah,
And,
the
like-
monologue at the end of Kill Bill Volume 2 where Bill / David Carradine, I think it's David rather than, David Carradine is the mouthpiece for Quentin Tarantino, talking about how Clark Kent is Superman's critique of humanity.
and there's
Um,
the idea that like, and there's the argument that I've seen made of like, oh no, you're supposed to think that Bill is wrong, right?
No,
Like,
you're not.
You're supposed to think like it's supposed to be interpreted through the lens that Bill is himself, like he's talking about Bill when he talks about Superman, that he's talking about himself and how he sees humanity. But I'm gonna say this, and listen, like I'm gonna be just completely honest, even if mean for a second. As someone that has enjoyed a lot of his movies, Tarantino's not a good enough writer to do that. That's
yeah. Your satire doesn't work if you have to explain the joke either.
Yeah, like he's like it's so like it is just a fundamental like misunderstanding of the character and vibe, hypothetically in service to a guy that sucks, but like it doesn't come across that way because of how frequently Tarantino will include lengthy monologues that are just what Tarantino as a person and creator thinks about like the world and pop culture. So it doesn't hit the same when he is like, you know, oh, this is this is supposed to be wrong, and it's like, yeah, but you do this all the time and you don't think that. So like, I don't think that's the case. I think that you just think a bad thing.
There's also, and this sort of links back to, I think, A Child of Two Worlds and choosing both. Clark goes by Clark. Like, depending on the writer, like to look at, there's a lot of talk about how with Batman, Bruce Wayne is the mask he puts on, the persona he embodies when he's out of costume. Like, Bruce Wayne is the costume, but at the same time, and
Brucey, baby!
but there's that same sort of thing, just they still use their birth names. Like, this is one of the fun things with the big three, and I know that's also a My Hero Academia thing, but also Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman. They use each other's first names. I mean, sometimes Bruce calls him Kent rather than Clark, until shit gets real. And that is why, despite being a very casual DC fan, I absolutely ship the big three. Yes. Correct.
Yeah,
Normal.
normal.
But that's because they are, again, archetypes. They're a power trio. That's the point. They act in conversation with each other. But acting like Clark Kent is this, because he's like, quote, cowardly. I don't think Clark Kent is a persona for him, because he is both and he chooses to be both. And I think implying otherwise feels like a misread to me, because he is Clark and he is Kal-El and he chooses to be both. It's not one is a mask for the other. They exist together. At least that's my hot take. That is probably not that hot at all. It's
No,
like
that feels exact.
It's one
and there's
chilly
a-
take.
I think going all the way back to like viewing the like going back to thinking about why British writers write Superman in the way that they do. Let me find a specific quote that I think I'm gonna drop on the board. To your point about like it's not an act when Clark Kent is cowardly or afraid. I'm gonna put this under hope, and it is going to be another character that I was just thinking today, like I would have a hard time visualizing this character in anything other than the nationality that they are, and there's a common thread here between the character and Superman. I am dropping in the quote from the Third Doctor of courage is not a matter of being frightened, it's being afraid and doing what you have to do anyway. Like
Yes.
he says, you know, in Superman 2025, I get scared. I'm scared all the time, but I do the best that I can do. And there is that idea of, I attach that to ACAB, and that's not the right place. I mean, kind of, but
a reasonable feeling.
But it is the idea of, like, it's not that he's not pretending to be afraid. He is a person who is afraid and saying, I don't have another option but to do the thing that is frightening.
Yeah. There's also something about that sort of ties back to a normal guy and also the archetype stuff. A lot of the time, yeah, the fear that he feels is fear for other people. Not of other people, but like, he's not going to be hurt by this thing falling, but all of those people would be. And that's terrifying. Knowing that you are the bulwark against the oncoming tide and only you can stop it. Terrifying amount of pressure. And he steps up to the plate every time. Because he can and other people can't. And that's got to be a terrifying amount of responsibility. But again, chooses to do so. Good shit.
I'm gonna add. I could go on for hours and hours and hours. I'm adding one other thing, and then I'm gonna sit back, and if anybody else wants to add things, or we can pivot into the other part of play. I'm just like, I could talk. Listen, I'm corralling. I'm necessarily corralling.
Yes.
But there was a card elsewhere on the board that I realized is a really strong connection. And it's a little bit out there of a connection, but I'm putting it in an odd space on the board as a both connection to a theme and a connection to a corporation piece. And that is, there's a line that has been said in critiques of the Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve movies, that also kind of becomes true about James Gunn's Superman 2025. That it's always about Luthor and it's always about land. I've connected that to gentrification. The idea that, like, Luthor is always like it is always about Luthor as a landowner trying to take control of the world through owning land. Like, the idea that Luthor as a presence is very tied to gentrification and the taking of land and the repurposing of land and the erasure of that land's identity feels very relevant to include as it connects back to gentrification as a force, as an antagonistic presence in Beetlejuice the music.
I went ahead and connected it to imperialism / colonialism. Let's see. I put ACAB on the board, which we've connected to a couple of different things that was relevant to what we were talking about with Spider-Man and Superman.
I made a connection between adaptation, this has happened before, to the ancient texts. I feel like that is vitally important because not only does Superman's story keep getting retold as a comic superhero, you know, he himself is a Moses allegory, and just, you know, these... I almost made a Homestuck reference, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It just keeps happening, bro.
Own it.
But I felt like that was an appropriate connection to make there with the ancient texts.
This thought feels like it might be an extension of other stuff we've had, but it definitely relates, I think, to most of our properties, which is the person we are perceived to be versus the person that we are. I'm thinking about how in Superman 25, how Luthor sees Clark versus how Clark sees himself, but also thinking about the man who has everything, how Mongol sees him and thinks, I bet he's imagining he's king of Krypton in there, and just like, no, I'm just a farmer. Like, but when I think about like the way Rebecca, Tank Girl, is seen as this like mercenary type, deeply dangerous, and that is true, but also that's not who she's interested in being. Who Beetlejuice is seen as versus who he wants to be. How Sarah is seen as just like the bratty older sister, and how she sees the world.
I mean, there is always something human within the kaiju.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also like to sort of connect to that masking thing. There's the masks we wear, and then there's the masks that people project onto us that say more about the person doing the projecting. Like how, but I suppose that's one of those fun metrics. Like thinking about Superman, just like how do you see this character, and then how they describe it. I think again, it's all about lenses and the way we view ourselves, consciously or not, or the world, and then it's why you can have a character depicted so many different ways by so many different people, and sometimes it's utterly incomprehensible because it's been so shaped by the person doing it. It's just like I can't even see the journey that you went on to get to that point. Like I can understand at least where Snyder's, for example, Superman comes from. I can understand it like logically, even if not emotionally. But then thinking about all the different incarnations of Beetlejuice as well, like not just the fact that there's the cartoon that exists and the Tim Burton movies and the musical, but then also within the musical there's all the different actors that have portrayed him and how the character shifts versus the Beetlejuice that is part of our investigation team, who is a different entity yet again. And it's like, people are very cool. I love people. And just the way we filter and the way we create things and how they become distilled. Like, it'd be fascinating to hear just another group of investigators do this exact grouping of media and to see what their board would look like.
Yeah.
Dope as shit.
I did add one more. I did add one item on the board that I think gives important context to the corporation as it relates to my boy Lex. A panel from All Star Superman issue 12.
Damn, fucking damn.
My favorite exchange in one of my favorite. I think one of the most important Lex Luthor exchanges in the 90-year history of Superman comics is Lex has, for context, has just been given all of Superman's power, has stolen all of Superman's powers and been struck by the depth at which Superman experiences the world. So he absorbs Superman's powers, and before he can do anything about it, he just goes, oh, I can see individual atoms. Oh, I can hear planets far away. I am suddenly keyed into all of existence. And then it slips away, like the power wears off, and he's furious, and he's like, you have to give it back. If I have that power, I can save the world. And Superman punches his ass in the face and knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then says, and I quote, you could have saved the world years ago if it mattered to you, Luthor. And I've connected that to the corporation with all of the things that we've highlighted. They could have saved the world. They could have done what Superman does on a daily basis, and it is ultimately the choice not to do that. It is the choice to not use that power and influence for the betterment of all. To not choose to use that power to help the people that need it.
Yeah.
That makes the corporation something that must be destroyed.
Like, to add to that, and I'm just noticing the green and purple, and it's giving me the like stole 40 cakes, and that's awful. It's the same color palette, but
it's as many as 4 10s.
That's so many. But specifically, I think like different portrayals of Luthor have done different things, but I'm thinking specifically about 2025 Superman and the very clear parallels to the billionaire class that we live with, what they're capable of doing versus the things they want to be. And it's just like, yeah, and this is true of like so many billionaires. Like you don't care about. You want to be a king of your own little country. You want to be loved. You want to have flunkies. you want to be famous, whatever it is, but it's like, why is the thing you have never enough for you when you could do so much with it? It is always wanting this other thing at the expense of everyone else. I'm sure our listeners know this, but the very existence of being a billionaire is an unethical thing. There is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Sorry, Bruce, but you're fictional at least. As somebody pointed out, like, if we're killing off the billionaires, that includes Gomez Adams. But at least he would support us. But you don't become a billionaire by accident, and you certainly don't stay one by accident. So
I'm adding one file. I keep hearing things and then going, what if I added a truly insane card?
I think you're right to do that, though.
Deeply on brand card.
Deeply on brand card, yes. Let me see if I copy a link. Will it post a page? Because I think that's the funniest way to add this card over by Superman. It sure is. It sure is. It sure is going to let me do exactly that.
Love that for you.
Yeah, okay.
It sure did. It sure did let me do the funniest option that was available to me, and I'm gonna connect that. Where's the card that is Superman the guy? I know that we did that. There
It's
it is.
further. Yeah, you got it.
Got it. I'm connecting Superman the guy, and I've added a card next to Lex Luthor as hearing you describe all of this, and I'm connecting this to the corporation, which I've already done, which is poor man want to be rich, rich man want to be king, and a king ain't satisfied until he rules everything, off of the Bruce Springsteen song Badlands. And I have dropped onto our board the Wikipedia page for Bruce Frederick Joseph Springsteen, born September 23rd, 1949. And I've connected that to Superman the guy. Superman Walk in the Sun coming in early 2026. But it is the idea of there's a lot that I could say about the parallels between Bruce Springsteen and Superman, and I'm gonna keep it simple and say, like, it is an iconic blue-collar figure pointing out, hey, we've been screwed over by a ruling class that is never going to be satisfied. And the correct thing to do, even if we know that we are going to fail, is to continue to get up and try.
Just gonna connect hope to that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, we were born to run.
I can't wait for the next game of Canonize where Jeff just plays Bruce Springsteen.
I've really thought, I honestly have, it's in the book that you could choose your favorite musician's body of work, and I've really been like, what if I picked the works of Bruce Springsteen?
I think we should do an all musicians canonized game at some point.
I just see like
I'd
what
still
the
choose
world...
David Bowie.
I feel like that still works.
That's how we do the Black Parade.
My friends, I have just clocked the time. Do we have any more cards we want to add, or shall we move to the next phase?
Let's move to the next phase so that we can wrap this guy up.
I have added a couple of cards though.
All right, go give us the rundown.
It'll be really quick. First of all, I went ahead and I put Lois on the board and linked her to Women.
Women.
Yeah. Women.
Yep.
Women.
I was gonna say Lois has to be included in the list of women that include Sarah and Lydia Deeds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and Rebecca.
And the other one, I put this kind of near Princess Tutu territory because it's something that I want to come back to next session. But service without the expectation of a reward. Which I've linked to the Superman property itself, to Clark himself. I've linked it to people always be given Superman a free hot dog because he doesn't expect that. It just happens. And I think I linked it to one other thing, but I don't see the arrow. So, to be human is a verb, not a noun.
Yes.
Because it is something that he actively chooses to do.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Anything more, Mac? Danielle?
Not for me.
We have mentioned a couple times the card that I put on the board that is masking parentheses identity, masking parentheses autism, masking parentheses sexuality. Just to give the listeners the knowledge of what that card we've been referencing the whole time is. Because I think it's a big part in a lot of what we've been talking about.
Also, I think you dropped nurture, not nature, as well.
Yes, I did drop nurture, not nature, with reference to Ma and Pa Kent. And I did externalize the our masks versus the masks people project onto us that Coda mentioned.
All right. So, friends, what dastardly plot, what new fucking trick is the corporation trying to pull?
I mean, I don't want to go here's the thing. There's the impulse to be like, we can't go the obvious route.
But also,
and yet,
it's always about Lex Luthor and it's always about land.
There's the desire to be like, what if we found some really clever, unexpected plot for the corporation to pull on? But
they
also,
aren't creative.
Right, we are creative people that also like deeply see the relationship between all of these things in all of these unexpected ways. And yes, I did just draw a large connection point between Lex Luthor and Superman because obviously we're gonna make sure that Superman doesn't get killed.
Yes,
Yeah.
Like everything that we've been talking about is all ultimately about Lex Luthor using the corporation in an effort to kill Superman, right? We can all we can all agree that that's the end. That's the plot here. They are to undo all of this would be to undo all of this is going to be like the through line for the corporation with everything that we've talked about is going to be killing Superman.
Yeah. Superman, being as we have described before, he is a load-bearing part of the universe.
That he is.
Yep.
And so this is has been connected to 1,000 other things. Specifically, a card I added to the board, which I forgot to talk about, is Superman's last message to the world carved into the moon with his heat vision, which is do good unto others and any man can be a Superman. And I've connected that to Sarah and Mako Mori and the Rippers and Tank Girl and all of these people that achieved the impossible by way of being a good person and by way of being kind. And like everything that we've described is all culminating in Lex Luthor using the resources of the corporation and their government fronted mech programs and the monsters that they've created and the media that they have subsumed and the worlds that they have carved to kill this example of the thing that he hates, which is kindness and good. And so with that, I throw this to my investigators and say, how are we using the connections that are on the board in front of us to ensure that Superman does not get assassinated by Lex Luthor? How do we throw in? What tools do we have to throw in with Superman and fight off more directly? And the other thing that I'm going to connect this to by way of we made monsters and made weapons to fight them, which is to say Superman like using the idea that Luthor has used resources to build mechs, and we've done a lot of hypotheticals here, but this is a big giant smash 'em up superhero fight where Luthor has rolled up with a bunch of corporation resources and giant weapon suits and man-made monsters and is going to kill this guy that we all like and give free hot dogs to, unless we can find the tools to stop it.
I have a pitch.
All right, I've got a stupid answer.
I've got a pitch in reserve that's a little esoteric, but it's fine. I want to hear Max first.
No, esoteric is the play. I think that's the energy.
What you got, Mac?
Here's a stupid answer. So we have these ray guns that turn felt into flesh. What if, hear me out, if we take one of these, reverse the polarity,
Yes.
and turn Superman into an actual Muppet?
Yes.
That feels right. That feels good.
Muppets cannot be killed.
Not in any way that matters.
Like actual Muppets. They're just felt. You can't kill a Muppet. You can't kill an idea. So if we turn Superman into an actual Muppet, that should invalidate at least, like, some of the things that Lex is planning, right? Right?
No, that feels...
This is
that feels...
Mac talking. This is not Fakir talking. I don't think Fakir thinks of this exactly.
That feels
But
great.
I'm like, we turn this man into a Muppet.
A very Muppety man.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to sit with this and take a step to one side and expand upon it, because I would never un-Muppet a man. The thing I was thinking was to do with music and how a good song never dies and how a motif is heard and felt throughout the universe. And then I was just remembering about how we all know the Rainbow Connection. And that is, even if the one version of Superman were to end, the song would continue. People would keep singing it. A good song never dies. A man still lives as long as a man is still alive when his name is spoken. The song of the son of Krypton will never die, because there is somebody new will always start singing it, because it's a song we all know, because we've been hearing it all our lives.
I have great news about how All-Star Superman ends.
Sick. Yeah, doesn't he end up living in the sun, or is that somebody? Was that another one?
He does.
He kind of is the sun?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Kind of becomes the sun.
Yeah, as you do.
But there's also there's also a whole plot line where there is a planet that does not have a Superman that ends up making Superman. I can't believe we didn't talk about this. The whole issue in All-Star Superman, where Superman is doing the plot of All-Star Superman is that Superman is basically doing the 12 labors of Hercules before he
He's dying.
dies.
He has got radiation poison. He has got sun radiation poisoning. He's got a month to live, and he is doing the 12 impossible labors that will make Superman live. That will make Superman live forever. One of them is creating a world. One of them is creating a world without Superman, and he kind of he builds this world to be like, would they be okay without me? Can I create a Superman? And sorry, Mac, I'm stepping on your toes.
No, please, because you probably have a better sense of what was happening in this than I do. But the thing is that they do still make a Superman.
Yeah. He creates a pocket dimension to confirm that the world will be okay. So he creates a pocket dimension, and he's like, I've engineered it. I worked with my science team to engineer it, where the only thing that will change is that Superman and Krypton do not exist. This is a world where I am never born, where my world is never there. This is a world without Superman. And as he is doing all of these other superhero things, it's the issue where the famous page of him appearing behind a girl and hugging her and saying you're stronger than you think you are. As he's doing all of these other Superman-y things, you're getting glimpses into this other world, which I think is Earth Q, if I'm not mistaken. And
I think you're right.
And you get flashes of this world's Friedrich Nietzsche being there must exist some kind of entity who is the greatest of all qualities that we ascribe to humanity. And you see bit by bit, and the final page of the issue is Superman looking away from this world to keep doing Superman things, and it's meanwhile in Earth Q, and it cuts to a tenement apartment in this world's version of Cleveland, where a guy is drawing on a piece of paper, and he's like, I just drew something that I think is going to change everything. Comics are good.
Comics are good is the thing.
A good song never dies.
So that's yeah. Anyway, please continue. How do we stop Superman from being killed?
Yes, everybody else, what do you got?
So I'm riffing off of the James Gunn Superman a little bit in drawing a line from "Should you need us, just call / we'll be there," because a lot of people know and care about Superman, and that ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people kind of coming out of the woodwork to lend their individual skills, however that may be it, through being a superhero, or be it through, investigative journalism, working. There's just too many people for the corporation to be able to put everyone down and keep their focus solely on Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to draw a connection between Ma and Pa Kent.
Mm.
And Lex Luthor, because I want to see Ma Kent beat his ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Ma Kent should punch that guy in the face.
Like, I feel like it's overdue, really, for Ma Kent to just hit him upside the head with a cast iron pan, because this motherfucker keeps trying to kill her boy. Like,
there's a great sequence in Superman the Animated Series where somebody shows up at the Kent farm to kill. I think it's Brainiac shows up. I think it's in the first 3 episodes of Superman the Animated Series where Brainiac shows up to kill Superman and like lands on the Kent farm and like goes to confront, and Pa Kent like blasts him with a shotgun and gets ready to take a second shot, and like Brainiac like grabs the gun, throws it out of his hand, and is about to kill Pa Kent, and then gets shot with a second shotgun, and it pans over to Ma Kent, is also just standing there with a gun like, what did you think? What did you think?
That reminds me, sorry to tangent, of that really dope, I think I've only ever seen it on Tumblr.
yeah,
Of the notion of time travelers who keep going to try and kill Clark Kent as a baby, and Mark Kent just kills every one of them, and it's just like, take Clark inside, Pa. I'm just gonna, and it's just like all of these fucking graves out the back behind the barn of all these time travelers that have tried to kill Clark as a baby, and Mark Kent's just taken every single one of them out.
Yes.
Which fits beautifully with the characterization of Pa Kent being like mush in 2025, like being this sweet, sentimental guy who's very emotional, and Mark Kent being just like, I will take care of this.
Can somebody point me on the board to where There Are Worlds Beyond This One lives?
Also, can we connect Mark Kent to women?
Yep, yeah, that feels right.
Where the fuck is that
it's
one?
here.
Hold
It's
on.
here.
It's
here it is. Oh, it's a Beetlejuice. It's a Beetlejuice. Thank you.
How do we find anything on this board? Frankly, it's a miracle.
So we're going to connect. I mean, it's only going to get more complicated because I am doing what I would describe as a 4-piece connecting alley-oop.
Incredible.
I was gonna say, we do have Spider-Man connected in fully now.
I got it.
Oh shit!
See, we created a web and it just pulled Spider-Man in by virtue of our creation.
I got it. You got it?
You've got it?
I've drawn a 5-piece alley-oop, drawing together 5 of our connective points.
He's connected 5 points. You didn't connect shit. He's connected them.
Connection point 1. There are worlds beyond this.
I love Canon.
We know that there are worlds beyond this. We know that we live at the epicenter of a multiverse. Connection point number 2. People always be giving Superman a free hot. Everybody likes Superman. I say we round up a posse. We grab Spider-Man. We grab the multiversal storyteller, Bruce Springsteen. We grab all of our invisibles who have to stick together. We get a posse of big, strong guys from across the multiverse, and we go kick this guy's fucking ass.
We put a team together. Have you considered putting Mark Kent and Lois Lane and Sarah and Lydia Dietz armed with shotguns?
And we beat the dog shit out of this bald little asshole.
Just like, hi, hello. This is the consequences of your actions.
Yeah,
Buckle
hello.
up.
I got 16 guys. I got 16 guys. I got the entire E Street band here. I got I got a gang of people, and we're gonna kick the dog shit. We've all decided your vibes are bad.
Rancid. Absolutely rancid.
And
vibes.
also, this dog is going to eat your face.
Also a dog. I'll also drawing the crypto connection.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my there he is.
He's got
put
the
that
scent.
guy on my
There is
Yep.
no hiding from Crypto the super dog.
Put that there as well. There we go. That's my pitch. It ties very nicely into the pitch of there are too many of us for the corporation to stand down. We're also not limited to people that are just in this world. We know there's a whole bunch of worlds, and we know there's a whole bunch of people in these worlds, any one of whom could beat the dog shit out of this guy, so let's get them all together and let's kick some fucking ass.
You thought you could create a pocket dimension, and you didn't think there were other dimensions?
Yeah, there we go.
Bitch, I thought you were a super genius.
And that is canonized. That is canon. That is the end of our today's investigation. I'm
All
now
right.
zooming out to look at the board, and it truly is so fucking funny.
It is. I love
Fully
how
leaning in.
it's just a smattering. It's like the nexus point of a whirlpool. It's just, and the amount of memes is increasing as we go out with these images.
Yes.
The multimedia experience has really exploded. You can see the moment where I realized that there's no limit to what I could drop onto this board.
I think
Where now
that's
there
the
are-
power.
now
That's
there's
the
Wikipedia-
Miro, baby.
That's the power of a
There's-
paid Miro
Now
subscription
there's
right
a
there.
Wikipedia page and a YouTube video, and there's comics pages.
I will say I do really like how, for the most part, all of the colors are concentrated together, and then all the way over to the left, you have this one little Superman colored post-it note that says it's always about Luthor and it's always about land.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
As it should be.
as it should be. All right.
So with that, Mac, where are we going to next?
Our final stop on this journey is an anime called Princess Tutu from 2002 to 2003. I have asked my friends here very lovingly to watch the whole fucking thing. And you should too, because I'm going to spoil the entirety of it. And I think it is a thing that is best gone into as blind as possible. So if you have no intention of watching it, that's fine. If you don't have a problem with spoilers, that's also fine. I'm not going to tell you don't listen to the next episode until you've watched all of Princess Tutu, but I would really recommend that you watch all of Princess Tutu before you listen to the next episode. This is your last warning.